Why Spock calls himself second officer, not first officer. In Star Trek Season 1, when Star Trek Strange New Worlds first premiered, longtime Trekkies noticed something unusual in Spock's early dialogue aboard the USS Enterprise. Despite serving as Captain Pike's right-hand man and clearly functioning as the ship's executive officer, Spock introduced himself not as the first officer, but as the second officer. It was a subtle detail that puzzled even the most dedicated fans. After all, wasn't Spock always the logical number one? This seemingly minor rank discrepancy isn't just a continuity quirk or an oversight from the writers. Instead, it reflects both a deliberate storytelling choice and a deeper insight into Starfleet's evolving command structure during this pre-original series era. More importantly, it reveals something profound about Spock himself, his cautious humility, his Vulcan discipline, and his early uncertainty about where he truly fits within Starfleet's hierarchy. A question of rank and role. In Star Trek Strange New Worlds Season 1, the USS Enterprise is commanded by Captain Christopher Pike Anson Mount, with Una Chin Riley Rebecca Ramin serving as his first officer, known affectionately as Number 1. Spock Ethan Peck serves as the science officer and, by Starfleet protocol, the ship's second officer, meaning he is third in command. This makes perfect sense in universe. A second officer is the next senior-most officer after the captain and first officer. If both are incapacitated, the second officer assumes command. It's a practical, well-defined role, and one that fits Spock's position perfectly during the Pike era. But the confusion arises because, in later Star Trek canon, particularly in the original series TOS, Spock is referred to as the first officer under Captain Kirk. Fans familiar with that era naturally expect Spock to have already held that title aboard Pike's Enterprise. So why the difference? The chain of command. Starfleet style. Starfleet's hierarchy isn't identical to modern naval rankings, though it borrows heavily from them. In most real-world navies, a ship's first officer, or executive officer, is the second in command, while the second officer is typically a senior department head who steps up if both senior officers are unavailable. During Pike's command, Una Chin Riley occupies that XO position. She's the one managing crew operations, overseeing missions, and representing the captain's authority when he's not on the bridge. Spock, meanwhile, focuses on the science department but carries the additional responsibility of being the next in the chain of succession. Therefore, when Spock refers to himself as second officer, he's not understating his importance. He's being precise. It's a reflection of how Starfleet's chain of command is meant to function. He isn't the first officer yet, because that title still belongs to Una. Canonical consistency and clever writing. It's also worth noting that Strange New Worlds is meticulous about canon. The show's creators have gone to great lengths to respect the continuity between Discovery, The Cage, the original 1965 Star Trek pilot, and the original series. In The Cage, Number 1 is indeed Pike's first officer, while Spock appears as a junior science officer. When Strange New Worlds picks up, that same command structure remains intact. Spock's use of second officer is therefore a nod to established canon, and to the professionalism of a Vulcan who values accuracy above ego. Writers Akiva Goldsman and Henry Alonso Myers have openly discussed how Strange New Worlds aims to show the evolution of the Enterprise crew, not just the adventures that fill Starfleet logs, but the gradual transitions that shape these characters into their iconic TOS counterparts. Spock's journey from second officer to first officer under Kirk is one of those defining transformations. His use of the former title sets up a clear timeline of professional growth, a symbol of Spock's dual identity. There's another layer to this, one rooted in character development rather than bureaucratic detail. Spock's preference for second officer also mirrors his cautious, self-contained nature. Early in Strange New Worlds, he's still navigating his identity as both Vulcan and human. He struggles with emotion, attachment, and belonging. Serving under Pike and Una allows him to observe leadership without having to embody it fully. He isn't yet the confident, self-assured officer we meet under Kirk's command. By calling himself second officer, Spock is recognizing that he still stands in the shadow of both Pike's authority and Una's example. It's a subtle expression of humility and of the Vulcan respect for hierarchy and order. In many ways, his eventual promotion to first officer represents not just a shift in rank, but a philosophical evolution. It signals that Spock has found equilibrium between logic and intuition, between service and self-knowledge. The legacy of Number 1, Una Chin Riley's presence as first officer, also carries symbolic weight. Her